Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing really good. So today is the second to last video of the How to Build a Healthy Hair Care Regimen series. Finally! I'm like, yes, finally we've come to the end. If you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, then I'm going to put a link somewhere up here to the series so you guys can check out the other parts of the series that bring everything together till this point. So today I'm going to be just talking about extras and additional things you can do in your hair care journey that will help to, really help you maybe achieve the goals that you've set for yourself a little bit faster and just to get the most out of your hair journey. So the topics that really stuck out to me in terms of the things that I've experienced in my hair care journey were moisture, breakage and growth. So I'm just going to be talking about things that I've done and that I feel quite a few other people in the hair sphere do that benefit their hair in terms of these areas. So I hope you guys are blessed. Quick housekeeping. I will say the next video is going to be uploaded on Sunday and it's going to be a Q&A. So guys, if you have any questions whatsoever on the topic of hair, any questions on anything that I've mentioned in the series so far, then please shoot them my way and I will definitely try my best to answer all of them. So the first thing I'm going to be talking about is moisture, or let's look at it as dryness. This is something that I know I have struggled with in the past. My goodness, you moisturize and moisturize and moisturize and your hair still feels dry. This is such a big topic in the hair sphere, it's something loads and loads of people struggle with. So I just wanted to share some methods that I have jumped on that have really helped me to not only better moisturize my hair, but to have my moisture last longer in my hair. So the first thing I want to say on the topic of how to combat dryness and increase moisture is, guys, nutrition. It's really important, and I know we hear it all the time and it's like, oh really, tell me something new, but seriously, it's so important. And the best way I can think of to explain it is, if you want strong hard nails, people say, oh, you've got to drink your milk and get your calcium. For me, I see water in the same way. If we are internally dehydrated, it's definitely going to affect the health of our hair, our skin, our nails look dry. We just simply kind of look dehydrated and parched. And I feel like this is something that's easily disregarded when it comes to hair care. People just think, products, what can products do for my hair? But honestly, if you're not hydrated as well as you should be internally, I feel like your hair's health is just really going to be compromised. The second thing I want to share is a method which I actually shared in the last video that I posted, which was on a hair care regimen. Look at me, I can't even remember. But yes, so the method that I shared in that video was the LCO method, otherwise known as the LOC method. Some of you guys may be familiar with the MNS, which is the moisturize and seal, or moisturizing and sealing. Essentially what people do, or one of the great practices to do, is to moisturize your hair with a really good moisturizer and then seal in that moisture with an oil, because the oil will coat the strand and make it harder for the moisture to escape the strands of the hair. Well, I don't know when this was introduced, but it just kind of, I guess, really picked up last year, which was the LCO or LOC method, depending on the order in which you like to do it. And so basically you start off with a liquid moisturizer, and bear in mind the moisturizer you use, of course, has to be really great quality, should have water, preferably as the first ingredient. And then you kind of top that off with a creamy moisturizer or a cream, which in most cases is going to be, moisturizing. And then you seal that moisture, so that second layer of moisture, with an oil. So it's just basically a step above, in my opinion, the MNS, so a step above moisturizing and sealing. You're just adding an extra step and you're really focusing on getting as much moisture in your hair and then sealing that with an oil. So that's the LOC or LCO, which stands for liquid or leave-in cream oil, or some people like to do liquid or leave-in oil cream. So definitely give that a try. You never know, your hair may take really well to it. The third technique or method that I want to share is called the baggy method, and this is often confused with another method called the greenhouse effect. So if you're wondering what the difference is, I'll make sure that I also say that as well. But the baggy method is essentially a method that aims to impart moisture into the hair. So essentially all you do is you get some strands of your hair, or you put your hair in a ponytail or in a bun like I've got, and you moisturize your strands. So it's not to do with moisturizing or putting anything on your scalp, it's just to do with the strands of your hair and focusing on getting moisture into your hair. So you moisturize it with a really good moisturizer or a leave-in, or basically something moisturizing, and then you basically put a shower cap on top of your head or if you're only going to be baggying your ponytail or your bun, then on top of your bun or your ponytail. So as you guys can imagine, if you were to put, let's say you're baggying the entire head of your hair, if you were to moisturize all of your strands and then throw a shower cap on top of your head, you'll find after a couple of minutes it's going to start getting a little bit warm up there. So basically what happens is you're creating a warm atmosphere, and that will allow for moisture to generate. And what will happen when you take off your shower cap, whether that's on your bun or on your entire head of hair, is you'll feel that your hair feels quite soft, and that's a result of the warm environment and the moisture that has been able to generate. So I baggy personally, I'd say 1 to 2 times a week. Whenever I'm moisturizing, I may just decide, oh, let me just throw my shower cap on my bun or my entire head of hair for 30 minutes, and that's my hair moisturized, or you know, me moisturizing my hair that bit more. So I definitely recommend bagging for anyone who hasn't ever tried it before. Trust me, your hair will feel really nice and soft afterwards, and it definitely does help to boost moisture in your hair. So next, on the topic of shedding and breakage, these are two things that I'm like, whoa, 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 stay away, don't be in my zone, I don't want anything to do with you. But let's be real, we can all experience both of these. So on the topic of shedding, I would definitely say, you know, shedding is normal. We need to shed hair so that new hairs can come in. Shedding is absolutely normal. And shedding, the difference between shedding and breakage is that, you know, shedding is most likely when you get really kind of long strands of hair that reflects the length of your hair in most cases. So it's hair that's coming out from the root. And breakage is where you usually find kind of shorter pieces of hair, which will probably show that, you know, you've got maybe single strand knots that are broken off, or, you know, split ends that are broken off, or other forms of kind of hair damage that have caused your hair to break off midway the shaft. On the topic of shedding, if you feel you do have excessive shedding, then please by all means do not try to self-treat. See a doctor, because they can further advise on that. But you know, if it's not really excessive and it's not causing excessive thinning or balding or anything like that, but you just feel like you want to curb it, then tea rinses are really popular for dealing with that. So doing a tea rinse, i.e., you know, putting a few bags of tea into a bowl with some water in it and rinsing your hair with that, maybe at the end of wash day, after you've rinsed out your conditioner or something like that, can help to strengthen your hair. And a lot of people use this because the properties of the tea basically help to kind of curb shedding and yeah, reduce shedding. So you may want to look into tea rinsing, and I will put a link down below of a individual that I know that does a lot of tea rinsing, and she's got gorgeous hair. You guys might have heard of her. Her name is Jen from Just Grow Already. So she is like my tea rinsing advocate and definitely brought me on board. So I'll put a link to her blog down below, and you guys can check that out in further detail. On the topic of breakage and of course shedding, but breakage mainly, first and foremost, the first thing that comes to mind for me is getting rid of split ends and single strand knots. You know, when I experience breakage, it's most likely because of those things. And whilst I know it's not always great, especially if you're trying to grow out your hair and, you know, achieve a certain hair length, to have to reach for your scissors and trim your hair, trust me, this will help you avoid long-term setbacks. So, you know, you can do something called the search and destroy, which is basically where you take out a day of the week, or maybe you dedicate your Saturday to sitting somewhere where there's really good light and sectioning your hair and just looking at each section and trimming off the split ends specifically, or the knots. It doesn't mean you're going to get rid of all of them, but you'll be able to get rid of as many as possible. So that is the search and destroy method for anyone who doesn't want to go for a full-on trim. At the same time, there's also something called dusting. So dusting is where you're not necessarily looking for split ends or single strand knots, but you decide to give yourself a lighter version of a trim so as to avoid having to go for a bigger trim at some point later on in your hair journey. So that was searching and destroying, and also dusting. And then of course, if things are really that bad, go for the trim. Honestly, go for the trim. Tell your salon stylist or your hairdresser that you really do not want them to get rid of a lot of hair, and just, you know, just be observant as they trim it. If you don't like how much you're losing, then discuss that with them. But yeah, just definitely go for a trim. Next, on the topic of breakage, this is something that I can be quite naughty with, and I really have to make the effort to try and remember. Staying on top of your moisture conditioners and your protein conditioners, because if you don't have a moisture protein balance, you can have hair that's either really weak, over moisturized, really kind of soft and, you know, easily breaks, or you can have hair that's too strong and is very hard and will just snap very easily. So Just using myself as an example, I like to do a protein deep conditioning treatment once a month. So 3 weeks if I wash every week, for example, of moisturizing deep conditioners, and 1 week of a protein treatment / deep conditioner. So stay on top of your moisture and your protein game. Last but not least, one of our favorite topics, which is hair growth. So the first technique or piece of advice that I want to share on the topic of hair growth is to stimulate your scalp in one of 2 ways. So the first is to massage your scalp, and that basically is just to encourage blood flow and circulation to your scalp, which will stimulate your scalp and your hair follicles, thus encouraging increased hair growth, or just encouraging growth in general. The next thing I want to say on top of that, in most cases a lot of people oil their scalp or use some sort of a scalp feed. Definitely add some stimulating essential oils to your scalp feed or your scalp oil. And you guys will know I am ride or die peppermint oil. I add a few drops of peppermint essential oil into my scalp feed or my scalp oil, whatever I'm going to be using on my scalp. There is a study that I discuss in further detail on the blog that supports the growth enhancing properties of peppermint oil. So just adding something stimulating like that, or eucalyptus oil, or what have you, spearmint oil, to your oil to increase and encourage hair growth. And the last technique that I want to share is a method called the greenhouse effect. And I mentioned before, this is often confused with the baggy method. Essentially, the greenhouse effect focuses on hair growth as opposed to just moisture that the baggy method focuses on. So with the greenhouse effect, what you do is you apply oils. So not a moisturizer, you apply oils to the strands of your hair. Either your hair can be dry or damp hair, and then you chuck your shower cap on top of your head. And in the same way as a baggy method, you create this warm, steamy environment. But in terms of the greenhouse effect, what this does is it encourages the production of the natural oil that we produce from our scalp, called sebum, which will help to nourish our hair follicles. So essentially, this warm environment encourages the production of sebum, which helps to nourish our hair and in turn encourages hair growth. And on top of that, they say, or studies have shown, that hair actually grows a little bit faster during the warmer months, hence why this kind of supports the idea as to why the greenhouse effect may work. That is it, guys. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you on Sunday. Happy Easter in advance. Bye.